Hey, it's Bill coming back at you. Uh, Jack has not turned up yet, and I saw him with his friend, so he's got company. We'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll be gone the rest of the day now. We'll see what happens when it comes time tonight to sit down and sleep. I'm sure they'll get fed, but we'll see. Like I said, I can't make people do it. What's that old saying, Lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, I'm only going to lead it to the water. I ain't, if I'm counting on it to ride it, I got another plan. So, I'm sorry, but I got you there. If you can't figure out what to do from there, I'm keeping on. I got other things I can do. I'm not the one dying of thirst. So, I know that's a horrible analogy, but that's how I see it. And he knows he can come back. I don't leave him mad. I try not to leave anybody angry because I used to. I used to do it all the time. Yell and scream and rant and rave. I still do that. I'm working on that. But I, I, I don't even. I raise my voice. I see it when I talk about the things that used to irritate. Well, they still irritate me, obviously. But I'm getting better at not raising my voice because it doesn't no good. And I tried to figure out where that happened. That literally happened right here in Santa Monica for the very first time. I can, because I remember stuff like that. It was like somebody said something to me that didn't make sense. And I was yelling at somebody that I liked. I mean, him and I have the same name. We hung for the first year. He's like the first true friend I met here in Santa Monica. He's off doing his own thing again now, but I know where he's at. I mean, if I needed to talk to him, I knew where he's at. We got into arguing about something one day, and I know how I get. I know now. And again, I had already had the brain surgery. Yeah, I had already had the brain surgery by the time I met him. So again, I don't know what comes. I don't know what happened when I got whacked. So I don't know what to blame it on. But anyway, he said to me, I was yelling, doing my normal yelling, and I know I'm right because I wouldn't have yelled. I'm not. I know the difference is I'm not going to defend myself if I'm wrong. So I'm defending myself, but I'm yelling. And he looks at me and he says, well, don't yell at me. And I looked at him like, what? You're the first person. He says, I forget how he worded it. That part I don't remember. But I remember him explaining to me, we can disagree, but I'm not going to listen. He says, I'm a man. That's how he put it. He says, I'm a man. I don't need to be yelled at. Not by you. I don't even allow my father to yell at me. And I thought about that. I said, you know what? I don't know you well enough to be yelling at you like that. And I said, I don't know where that came from. I apologized to him. I said, I don't know what's going to come of this, but I said, I'm telling you right now, it's a whole lot better attitude. I said, I'm glad you said something. And he's looking at me like I'm kidding. I'm like, no, his name's Bill. I said, no, Bill. I said, nobody's ever pointed it out to me that way. I said, it makes perfect sense. I said, who am I to tell you? I said, you think you're right, and I think I'm right. But we could sit down. At that time, I was still drinking. I said, why don't we go get stoned, have a beer, and we'll sit down and figure this out. I said, we obviously both think we're right. We can either argue and hate each other, or we can go and have a beer. Let's go have a beer. I think think that's how the whole philosophy came about, to be perfectly honest with you. Now that I'm really thinking it out as I'm talking, yeah, I think that's exactly how it happened. So now the next time I see him, I got to tell him I finally figured out what, and I'll remind him. He's a real intelligent guy, so he'll he'll remember it to a T. And because we didn't argue about many things, and so I know it'll stick out in his mind. And I'll tell him, I say, I got the rest of that story for you. So the next time I see him, I'm not going to search him out. But next time I see him, I'll tell him, I said, I figured it out. But he did. He helped me. He helped me from that. And that's it. I mean, we're still great friends, and that's a true friend. In the middle of an argument, to stop and say, I mean, we are in the middle of an argument, and he comes down to tell me that. I'm like, and I mean, normally you'd be like yelling and screaming, you wouldn't hear what he's saying, you'd think that was, I just, if he calmed down enough to tell me something, I calmed down enough to listen to it. And when it's done, I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Not for the reason you're thinking, but you're right. we're good friends yelling at somebody, at each other, when we both think we're right. I said, there's a solution to that. We just, yelling isn't it. I said, let's go have the beer. And we'll smoke a joint and we'll talk it out. And that's what we did. And I can't remember the solution because it didn't matter. But we're both happy. And we're like, that was easy. So that's all we do. And I guess since then, I've just made it my habit. I mean, I found that once you begin your habit with it, that this guy's the guy I got in an argument with, so I'm going to have a fight here in a minute. And if I do, I apologize. He might just walk by. So far, I mean, this is the guy I got, 911 guy. For me, it's tough to do. Anyway, now I'll forget, because literally I was going to stop the phone. I stopped this to use the phone. Oh, William. Yeah, he goes by William. We're both Bill, but obviously we couldn't. Hey, Bill. So he liked William, I liked Bill. So that was an easy choice. But so yeah. Anyway, he taught me that lesson that day, and it literally broke the conversation. I mean, he stopped the argument with that comment, because we went had beer, and that was the end of it. And I think I was so satisfied with the outcome of it, I made a habit of it. So, and now when I'm helping somebody with that, if they're going, I apply that whole thing works together for me. If you're not helping yourself, I'm wasting my time, and that's what I said to him. So this is plenty for this add-on, I'm going to call this, because I am trying to catch up on stuff, but that didn't help one little bit. That all happened today. And I swear to God, it's, I don't know, I don't know what I'm going to have to do to keep it up. I'll have to think about that, because I'm falling way behind. I don't know. I really have to think about it. Maybe I'll have to do it once. Jesus. I don't know. I got to think about it. Anyway. Oh, let me show you how they hot rodded my bike out real quick. That's a good thing, and it'll give me the last 10 minutes. Well, it gives me 10 minutes. This is how they hot rodded out the bike that my friend gave me. See, it's got the same tires. These weren't on. We had to redo all of this. And it used to have a more expensive tube in it, but I don't care. This is on here. This is a changed seat with a new slightly angled position to it, and it has a spring gear system for my butt, because I always have a backpack. They had to tilt up the handlebars, which I find uncomfortable, because of the brake system, but it gives you the ape look. I'm supposed to have the ape handlebars. And I had the ape handlebars on my motorcycle, and I didn't like them. So I had to have them custom made so that I like the look. I like the handlebar. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm kissing the phone again. I like the look of the high rise, but I wanted them tapered back down so I didn't have to bend my arms. So I was going to have them change it all back, and that's what I told them. I said, Jesus, they said, I wanted it back like I had it. And then they said, well, you haven't even taken it for a ride. I said, fair enough. I said, that's true. I said, I overjudged it before I even took it for a ride. Let me go for a ride real quick. And I said, and they said, you got to be fair. They're giving it back to me. Because I always say the same thing to them. So I said, okay, fair enough. I said, I'll go 5 or 6 blocks. I'll go up a hill, down a hill. I'll do all the things I normally would test the bike with. I said, I'll give you an honest run. So I come back after, it's 8 or 10 minutes, I come back. And I said, you guys were right. I said, I owe you an apology. I said, it's like it was custom built for me and how I ride. I said, and I told them, there's only 3 things that I could find that I would change. And I told them what they were. And I said, I don't want anything but those 3 things changed. They haven't done the 3 things yet. So, and he's mad at me. So, but he thinks this is finished in his head. It's how I used to think. So I'm not mad, and I told him that. But I'm going to give it 3 days, like I do, because I've told him. I said, I give you 3 days, 3 tries, 3 everything. I'm going to tell him 3 times. I've already told him. I've done all of this thing. He's got 3 of his best. I mean, you'd have to fall over on the bike in its actual position that I want and say, oh, here's your bike, for it to be any clearer. So, on the 3rd day, which is tomorrow, I'm going to do all of the modification, which means I have to wait. I'll do a whole video on it because I have to make a steel press out of a jack to bend the handlebars, and I know how to do it. It's a pain, but if I'm going to make those modifications for somebody and expect them to accept the bike back that way, and I've told them how I like it if that's the way, otherwise it's got to go back the other way, and I like this way more, you got to make a decision. Now, they haven't done anything. So I like this way so much that I'm going to make the press to bend the steel bars. I'm going to do all of it. And I'm not going to make them watch. I'm going to do it right over there by the tree where they can see me doing it. And then when I'm done, they're going to see a custom-made Harley-style bike. And I mean, I'm going to do all out. I might even put the gas. This bike has got the perfect setup for the gasoline 2-stroke motor that they all want around here. So I'm going to go all out, and I'm going to trick this thing now. I already found out, though, since I've been so helpful with everybody here, I don't think there's anything I could set down that will get stolen if it's identifiable to me, like my bike. I asked one of them the other day. I told him, I said, I need a chain for my bike. I said, this is like 3 days. 3 days is too long, and it's still here. I said, I'm telling him, but I'm laughing like I always do. I said, it's a effing miracle that it's still here after 3 days. He says, nobody's told you? I said, no, what? He says, you don't have to worry. I said, what? What do you mean? He says, if anybody steals your bike and tries to sell it, they're going to get their ass kicked. I say ass, I think. They're going to get their ass kicked for stealing your bike. He says anybody that will buy that bike is going to get their ass, somebody's going to get their ass kicked. Either by the guy that they're trying to sell it to or the guy that somebody's getting their ass kicked. I said, I don't want that. He says, it's too late. He says, you've done too many favors for people. He says, they don't want to have to find you a bike again. It's easier to beat somebody's ass up. I said, I really don't want that. He says, well, that's how it works. I said, okay, whatever. I'm not changing the streets. I'm just changing my rules. That's it. I said, I don't ask questions. It's not my problem. And I tell them, if I get anything from you, it has to be clean. I don't care how you get it clean. But I don't want it. It has to be. If I run it the serial numbers, I want it clear. I check everything too. There's a Santa Monica thing. I tap into my phone, and I do it right there. Everything. So they know it. I don't want anything either. The only thing they can get away with that I know of is my weed, and I want that factory sealed because I don't want it tampered with. So, unless they found a way, and that would mean burglary, and I would find maybe after the riot that might have been possible, and I'm sure that happened to me. But on a regular basis, it'd have to be some other way, somebody, a friend slipping a friend, $100 to get something through his employee discount and stuff like that. They do that. I know that. Everybody always thinks it's some big, huge crime. It's not. It is against the law, which is a stupid law. If it's bought legally and the tax paid on it, the only thing the government is really capable of bitching about is the tax that the person that has made it from a legal purchase to a summed up amount. So let's say you buy a quarter of an ounce of weed, which is legal here. Break it down into eighths or whatever. Break it down, and you can make let's say you make a sale of 4 and you keep the 5th one. I'm going to make it easy. Break it up 5 ways. Whatever those amounts are. You sell 4 of them to make back your even money, and you keep the 5th so you smoke free. That is literally against the law. If you were to do the same thing and sell them, it's against the law. So let's say I could make the 5 of them for 50 cents and I could sell them on the street for $1, which you can. That's illegal. To me, it's a stupid law. They got what they were happy with for the tax. That's just the government being greedy again, and it's a stupid law. So I tell them, if that happens and they get in that problem, I'll do whatever I have to do to help them get through it, because it's a stupid law. And if I gotta pay the fine, I'll pay the fine. If that keeps them so that they're actively moving forward to making a living, and a legal living and a legitimate living, if that's the stepping stone that I have to step on, I'm gonna do it. And if they want to take me to court, I'm fine with that. If they need to actually be slapped beside the face that hard to wake up for that, then slap me and I'll slap you back. So, I want something funny though. There's got to be something funny. Oh, I already did the bike. There's more I could say about the bike though. I do really like it, but I told you what I expect. And I will show them. I would show them if they come up to me and tell me, we don't know how to do that. And I've told them this. So they can be learning how to do what I'm going to do, or they can watch me do what I'm going to do. And when they get done and want to know how to do it, I'm going to say, I just showed you. If you didn't figure it out, I'm sorry. Next time I need to do it, I'll tell you. Yeah, you already had your chance, and I'll explain the whole thing, because this is it. I mean, you got 24 hours to figure it out. And then when I start putting it together, I guarantee all of these people that come by and say, here's this and that and everything, I'll be 17 people over there watching me build this thing into what I'm going to call a custom Harley bike. And, well, I don't ever say Harley, because none of mine were ever. I built them from the ground up, so I'm going to do the same to this thing. Now that I know I can do anything I want to it. I'm going to build it. I'm going to build something that is going to make them, it's going to be something that they want to steal. and knowing that they can't is going to be my anchor. And you can bet when they see me tooling around on that they're going to want to know how to build it. I'm going to need a way to rent a place to show all of the people how to build this. And I've got all sorts of things in the irons, but a lot of the people I bumped into, like I said before, have offered donations, and I'll take something up to $20 that I can rapidly disperse. Because $20 is not a big thing. But anything over that, I expect to be able to document for people's, you got to know where your money's going, otherwise I don't want it. So I asked once before, and I'm still looking for a lawyer. I can ask another person, but they're from Florida, my accountant in Florida. And I just spoke with him. But I would rather an attorney out here for that. Like I said, it's got to be I think it's going to be a sub-corporation, not for profit. No, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Sub-corporation for profit, LLC is what I believe we're going to need, but I'm not a lawyer. And that's why I'm saying I don't have the money. I could pay for it, but this whole thing is supposed to be voluntary or is on the least amount. I'm not asking for legal advice or stuff like that. Just a legal document for that is all I'm hoping for. Just help me get that set up legally and proper. I think I could do it, and if that's the case, I mean, if somebody would even let me get it all the way through the whole process and then just review it, that would be great too. So if I miss something, that would be great. But that's what I want. I think I'm going to need to. Even I can make a donation into my own. I don't know how that works, but I think I can do that. So to keep things moving along, I could do that, but it's going to start to get expensive because people are already asking me. So I know if I start turning them away, I'm going to have more problems. I'll keep it floating along, and I'll have to pay for a lawyer if I have to. If somebody out there that hears this would want to help, that'd be great. And I'm gonna say goodbye now. I should just say something funny. I love ending things on a happy, funny note. I don't know. I get so many funny things in my mind. I can't pick one. I'm so sorry. It's been a long time. My accountant doesn't know that in fact, I'm going to send him the start of these videos, but he has no idea that I've been out homeless, living the country. And I have several different accountants. And I told him, I said, I got a big story to tell you. I told him, he says, I said, I don't have time right now. He says, well, I'd be later. I can get in touch with you later today. I said, no, this is one of those ones where you're going to want a couple, 3 hours. He says, do I need to have a brandy? And I said, yeah, you probably do. I said, but I quit drinking. He said, BS, but not that way. And I said, for real? I said, I quit drinking. He says, I don't believe you. I said, I knew you wouldn't. I said, but for real? I said, I quit drinking. He says, good for you. I said, well, don't be so too proud of me yet. And I said, guess what else is good? He says, what? I said, you know where I'm living? He says, no. I said, I'm living in Santa Monica, California. He says, Santa Monica, California? I said, yeah. He said, why? He didn't even know my wife had passed away. Because I haven't used him since I did the whole thing with the salvage yard. He still thinks I'm working on that. And, I mean, for real. And, I mean, he doesn't even know about the Ocean House. My father doesn't even know. My family, nobody does. My wife is the only one that knew. And her and I, it's our house. I doubt her family even knows. If they know, it'd be a miracle to me. I never asked her not to tell anybody, but it was our house. It was where she could go and have. It was for her. That's why I won't sell it. It's her house. I mean, it's in my name because she passed away, but it's for her. I think what I'm going to do is, I got plans. I'm not going to say anything now, but it's a very, very good plan, and it's a beautiful place right on the ocean. So it's going to make a beautiful place for where it's going to go. That's a happy note. I can tell you what it's going to do. It's going to be donated for people with any family with Portland, Maine Med has what I consider some of the finest cancer doctors in the world. It's in Gibson Wing is the one it's the whole 5th floor that I understand is the Gibson Wing. I've never had the opportunity to meet Mr. Gibson, and I understand that he's older, so I hope he's still alive and doing well, because he did a wonderful thing with his life. But anyway, I'm not hoping, that's where it's going to be donated to for, and there's a bunch of stipulations, but it's all for people that are families to use it while their family loved ones are being cared for. It's close enough to the hospital that they can get to it quickly. And like I said, I got a lot of plans, but it's a beautiful home. The way it's going to be set up is it's for everybody that is in a need of using it, more or less long term. So like Jamie's, when we found out she was terminal, that's what it's primarily meant for, is when you're like, for me, it was an hour and a half from, well, anywhere, depending. Let's say, figure an hour and a half is what I did to get from our house to the hospital, Portland, Maine Med. From the house to the Portland, Maine Med is less than 15 minutes. So, and it's beautiful, looking right at the ocean, and it's got plenty of room for, if families share the large rooms, it can take 5 families comfortably. And then you just share the kitchen and dining and, share the rest of the house. It's built for where it is. How's that? It's big, and and it's built for Jamie. So it's got a library. It's got filled with books. It's beautiful, and nobody gets to see it until I haven't figured it out yet. But it's gonna be a minute. But it looks like a regular house every day of the week, but I haven't been in it since just before she passed away. We took a day to bed together. Said our goodbyes at our house. Made our deal. Remember, I'm not crying anymore. They're all pleasant thoughts now. And gotta work on it a little more. This is a tough one. I forgot about that memory. Almost there. All right. I'm not going to make it through it because I have to tell you what it is now. when we were married. We got married in the hospital. We'd been together for 11 years. Tried to get married a couple of times. My father's got an ocean house up in Maine. And it's a beautiful place. And she wanted to get married there, which my father had no problem with that. My father's always been like that. And so she organized a couple of times, and she kept having these particular people, not the same ones, but she had this group. You know, she had her side of, what do they call it, the group, bride's guests. And, you know, she'd have a couple of these key people in there that she wanted at the wedding, that said they couldn't make it that day. It happened twice. So I've already told you 3 times, whatever it is. And so I told her, I said, yeah, not that I was going to marry her no matter what, but I told her, you know, it's just a piece of paper. I said, do you really want to, you know, because each time she gets disappointed and she's upset and I got to walk her through it. And I said, honey, and I told her that same thing I just said. I said, hey, John, I said, you know, I don't know. It's way too early, brother. You're like 5 hours early. It ain't even noon yet.
No, he's going 1 o'clock.
Oh. I said, oh.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm just doing my pod.
What time is it? What, 1?
I don't know. I can't do it while I'm on the thing.
We about 1 time. I have to hit myself at work.
I'll cut you off right now. I'll put back.
This is about you, guys.